everyone, welcome back to the Faithful You Knitting Podcast. My name's Hazel and I'm coming to you from Mid Wales in the United Kingdom. This is a fibre-based podcast where I talk to you about my knitting, my spinning, my crochet, my weaving, sometimes a bit of dyeing, sometimes a bit of things from the garden, sometimes I show you my chickens, whatever's going on in my life at the time. That's what I tend to share on my channel. Welcome back to all my returning viewers. It's lovely to have you back with me. And welcome to all my new subscribers and to all my new viewers. It's always lovely to have people turn up on the channel and comment in the comment section below. And it's always lovely to see new people subscribing and discovering my content. Thank you to all you people who are staying with me and staying faithful to me over these last few months and these last few weeks. Sorry I've not been around, and sorry that I've not had any videos out to you for the last 10 days or so, but I just fancied a little bit of a break. I was quite overwhelmed by all of Vlogmas and all that I did over Vlogmas and all the spinning and everything, and I just felt that I just needed a break. So I've had a good couple of weeks off. I've had a really nice break. I've not done much spinning. I've not done much on my Asic 24 blanket. I've just literally sat in front of the fire, enjoyed doing my knitting and enjoyed my new cast on. So I've got quite a bit to share with you today. I thought that I would share a few plans of what I'm planning on knitting in the year ahead in this year. Some thoughts about those patterns, and a lot of them are going to be free patterns, because what I want to do this year is do more for free. I want to knit from stash and not buy any more yarn. I know I did have a bit of a splurge in the charity shop the other week, but going forward from that, I mean, it was only £12, I didn't spend a shed load of money, but going forward from that, I don't want to spend any money on yarn for the whole of 2023. So whatever I do, I'm either going to spin it myself, or it's going to be knit from stash, or I'm going to dye it myself with the white yarn that I have in my workshop, which is where I am at the moment. So I want to encourage you, whoever you are, to do a knit from stash year, and to just only use yarn that you have in stash, to not buy any, not to boycott any particular designers or anything, but I just think it's good to encourage people to use what they have, and then you can make space to buy some more nice yarns. If it's making gifts to people, use what you've got in stash, because I'm sure you've all got some lovely yarns hiding under the bed, hiding in the cupboard, hiding in the wardrobe, in suitcases, in storage boxes. If you're like me, I've got it in the garage, I've got it in here, I've got it in the bedroom. We've all got yarn stashed all over the house, and it would just be good to get a bit of an inventory of what you've got, and when you come to knit a pattern, say, oh, I can use that yarn, I can use that yarn. And that's basically what I did last year in 2022. I went on a no spend on yarn year, and from August 2021 until Christmas 2022 I didn't spend any money on yarn. I didn't buy anything. Everything I knit from stash, I knit from hand spun, and it's been really good to thin out the things that I've got now, and now I can see sort of what I have and what I can use for future patterns. So that's what I'm going to do, and a lot of the patterns that I've picked are going to be free patterns. So I'm going to talk about that after I've talked about all my knits. So if you're interested in that, it'll come after the works in progress and my finished objects. So we'll do that towards the end. But the weather today here has been really grim. It's really cold. I've got two scarves on in my workshop. I've got my hand knit cowl and my hand spun shawl, and I'm feeling a bit toasty now, but the weather here is very cold. We had a hailstorm earlier on, about 2 o'clock this afternoon, and we had thunder with it as well, a big bang of thunder. So yeah, the weather's changed quite a bit here. I think it's going to be cold tonight, and I need to get snug in front of the fire. So excuse me if I feel like I'm rushing today, but yeah, it's a bit cold. To start the episode, I've been having a look through a poem book that I found in my workshop here when I was tidying up to do my podcast, and I thought I'd share it with you. Just something different just to start the podcast. And it's called The Green Woodpecker. And it says, when I were a-coming back home for my tea, I hears an old yaffle up top a tree, and standing beneath him I cries to make out what that there old waffle we're laughing about. His cap in it were scarlet, his jacket were green, Where's my glasses? The finest old yaffle that ever were seen. He laughed and he laughed as he sat on his bough, but I couldn't make sense of what that yaffle now how. You silly old yaffle, I started to bawl, a sitting there laughing at nothing at all. And yaffle he answered, I swear this be true. You silly old juggins, I'm laughing at you. I thought that was quite good. This book is from 1951. Well, that was when it was given to somebody, and I found it, and I think it's lovely. So it's got some lovely little old poems in it, but I just thought that was one worth sharing. So I might share a couple in the next few episodes as I go through them. I like things like that, but it was called The Green Woodpecker if you want to look it up online. So that's what I've been sharing from that one. Right, shall we get started? I've been going through some old knits, and I was looking at some stuff, and everybody's been trying to encourage me to make socks, and that's one of the things that I want to do for this year, and that's what I've put on my list for this year. So I just thought that I'd take the time and show you some socks that I did actually make. I've only ever made one pair of socks. They are well worn. They were knit in Croft double knit, I think, which was by Sirdar, and they're cotton, alpaca and polyester, I think, or nylon, I can't remember. But these are them. These are the socks I've made. They are well worn, as I say. They're a little bit baggy, but this was my first ever pair of socks. I can't remember whether I used a pattern. I think I might have done. But the reason I was disheartened in making socks again was because within the first month they went in a hole. Now I can repair the hole, but they've just sat and languished in a basket, oh gosh, for about 7 years, something like that. It was one of the first things I ever knit when I came to Wales. But there are two. I did make 2 socks. So I do feel a bit encouraged to make another pair of socks. And yeah, I think I might fix these and wear these, because one of my viewers has said that once you wear a knitted hand knit wool pair of socks, you'll never wear anything else. So if I can get myself back in these socks, I might start knitting another pair. So I've rooted out some wool, and of course it's by Shilzadare. Everybody who watches my podcast for any length of time knows just how much I love Shilzadare yarns, and I have quite a bit of it in my stash. So this is a good use of stash for me. And I've got these pinks. I got them when she was closing down in Waternish and they were on sale. And I've got these pinks here. You can see them. And this one is 3-ply sock yarn, 80% wool, 20% nylon, 145 metres. And they can wash them in the washing machine, and they're dyed with cochineal. So it's got her old labels on it as well. There's the old label, Shilzadare yarns, just there. So I've got 3 of that colour, well 2 and a bit of that colour. And then I've got this pink, which is also dyed in cochineal, which is a bit darker. And then I've got this variegated green, which is indigo and heather. This one. There you go, there's the label, the old label again. So, yeah, this is one of the things I used to like about her yarn. She just did a simple label like that, and there was nothing fancy about it. But it gave you all the information that you needed to be able to go away and say, oh, this is what this is made out of. And again, it is 80% wool, 20% nylon. It's all the same sock base, just different colours. So I've got those colours. And I thought I'd have a go at making a pair of socks, and I thought I'd use that for the heels, toes and cuffs, and use this one for the main part of the body. So yeah, and the same again with that one. So I'll get 2 pairs of socks hopefully out of this one. I'm not sure whether 145 metres will be enough, but usually 100 grams is about right, isn't it, for a pair of socks? So yeah, I should have enough in all that to knit my socks. Right, okay, so that's just an aside. Okay, so we'll go through the works in progress first. I've been working away on my vintage 1980s sweater, and I'm working on this one, which is an odd pins pattern from 1984, which at the time I was 11 years old. So yeah, I'm knitting that one. The next one I have in mind is, where are we? No, I'm not. I'm knitting that one. That's the one I'm knitting. And I'm going to do this one next. So I'm doing the pink brushed mohair, and I'm doing it in this beautiful colour here. There we go. Sorry, I'm recording in a different space today, and I'm trying to do it around a cup of tea. Well, a cappuccino. So I'm doing it in this yarn. You can see it's knit on a 12mm needle and a 4.5mm needle, and you get this lovely pattern where you get an elongated stitch, and then when you purl it, you do it on a 4.5mm needle, and you get your normal 4.5mm size stitched. So it's turning out really nice. I'm up to the armholes on this one. So yeah, I'm up to the sleeves now, so that's good. I'm really enjoying knitting it. It's a lovely pattern. It's lovely to knit. The only thing I have to be careful of is that it doesn't fall off the needles, because I went to show it to my mum on Christmas Day and the whole thing fell off the needles. So this is it. So I've nearly done the back. I was hoping it'd be a lot quicker, but because it's mohair and because it's slippy, it takes a while because it keeps slipping off the needles. So this is the wool that I'm using. This purpley colour here. It's a beautiful colour. It's not quite showing up in the light properly, but it's more of a purpley sort of sherbety pinky colour. Candy floss. It looks like candy floss. So yeah, so that's my 1984 jumper, which was when I was just starting to get interested in music and fashion and that kind of thing. I think Wham and Aha and Duran Duran were in the charts at the time. So yeah, it brings back quite a few memories to me, that pattern, and makes me think back to a time in my life when I was just starting to get interested in the world, and not dolls and not toys and things like that. So that's quite a throwback for me. So I'm going to get on with the other pattern. I've already chosen the wool for it, so once that's finished I'll then move on to the next one. So I've also been making a hat for my husband on the circular sock machine. I'm not sure if I've shown this before, but this is made out of Gotland hand spun yarn from Wales. It's wool that I got from Wales, in Bala, so not far away from where I used to live. And there you go, it's just a cloche hat, just done in a straightforward stocking stitch, and it looks really nice. So it's really warm, really comfy, because it's got 2 layers to it on the inside. It's been folded up. I folded it up on the inside, and it's going to have 2 layers around the ears, so, and then thinner at the top to let not be too hot. So rather than it being a full double hat, it's kind of a half double hat. So that sits on the ears like that. So I just need to sew in the inside, but other than that it's pretty much finished. But I've lost the yarn, so I'm just waiting to find the yarn so I can carry on with that. Excuse my hair. And the other half finished project is this one, which is my tabard top. This one. It's just a cropped top that just comes just above my waist. I still need to do the sleeves, do something with the armholes, because I haven't edged it yet. I might leave it raw. And I still need to do the neck, and I'm just thinking of doing a garter stitch on the neck rather than a rib, because I did a rib before and it was quite bulky and I didn't like it. So yeah, I'm thinking of just doing a straightforward garter stitch on the neck, and I might just do 1 or 2 rows around the sleeves. But I quite like the way the sleeves are sitting, just rolling back in on themselves. I think that's quite nice, but it fits me now anyway. So that's my, there are we, that's my tabard. So that's that. That's done in Rico yarn that I also found in Stash, and it was knit on an 8mm needle. So it's knit up quite, it knits up quick, but I've knit it 3 times so far to get the pattern right, because I haven't used a pattern. I've just made it up as I went along, and yeah, it's turned out really, really well. So I just need to do the neck, do round the sleeves, and then I can wear it over a blouse. So that'll be really nice. So that's that one. I think that's all my works in progress. Yeah, not much, because I've been working on my new cast on. So I'll show you that, because that's kind of a new cast on work in progress. Now, I don't know whether you remember a while ago, I showed you some Lopi yarn that I'd bought to knit the Ridari sweater. Now, I couldn't make my mind up about knitting the Ridari sweater. I didn't love it enough to spend the hours making it and have it in my wardrobe. So I was going to knit another pattern, which was called the Alhambra tunic. Can't remember who it's by, but I'll put it in the description bar below the video for you. And I'll put a link to a video in which I talked about it as well, in the little eye thing at the top corner here. But I didn't love it for that either. It seemed a waste. I was going to make it in blue and brown, but that just seemed a waste as well. But then I was watching Emily Kate Makes on YouTube, and she's got a lovely channel. She does all sorts of different things like crochet and knitting and sewing. She does a lot of her own dresses and things. And she was knitting the Into the Wild sweater. And I've seen it a couple of times on Ravelry and round on Instagram, but I never thought in my mind to knit it myself because it was a paid for pattern. But then I saw her version of it, and she's done 2. She's done one for herself and one for her mum. And I thought, that's it. The wool I've got's perfect. So I took the plunge, I bought the pattern, and this is my Into the Wild top. So I am really, really, really pleased with it. I am so pleased with the foxes on the top, and in the camera it just looks even nicer than what it does close up in the wool. But on the camera, gosh, it looks lovely. It looks stunning. Surprised. But yeah, I'm really, 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 really pleased with how it's turned out. I love the blue against the brown, and then the black just below the fox heads here. That's my hand spun yarn. So yeah, I am so pleased with it. It's turning out really nice. I'm really enjoying knitting with it. I love knitting with that Lopi yarn. It is a little bit itchy to wear until it softens up, but it softens up in no time. So I've done the yoke, divided for the sleeves and put them on stitch holders. So there's 2 stitch holders there, and I've started the body, and I'm about 2 inches down on the body, and I only have to knit 11 inches. So, excuse me, I'll have that done probably by the end of tomorrow, because I've just been knitting and knitting and knitting on it. It took a while to get the pattern for the yoke because of the increases, and you do have to knit with 3 strands of yarn at the same time. At one point it was getting quite complicated because the distance between the stitches, it was something like 7 or 8 stitches distance between say the black and the black, and then you had the cream and the brown in the middle, and I had to carry the yarn over the needle as well as I was going, because I only like to have a maximum of 5 stitches between each thread at the back of the jumper, between each float. So that's my floats on the back, and yeah, it was quite complicated because it was knit three colours at a time. But they're my floats. They're not too bad. Actually quite neat, which is neater than what I've done before in the past. And I've carried the yarn on, so I just need to cut the threads once I get to the end of the jumper, because they've all been carried across. All these threads, loose threads, have all been tied in as I go, so all I have to do is just cut them off at the end, so there's no sewing in. I don't need to sew my ends in. And I did German short row as well, so I'm very pleased with it. I can't wait to wear it. I'm hoping I can get it finished by the end of the month and get wearing it before the end of the winter. So yeah, that's my new cast on. I allowed myself a cheeky cast on, even though I still got plenty on the needles to knit. I'm just losing my stitches. even though I've got plenty on the go at the moment to knit, I allowed myself that as a new cast on. So yeah, very pleased, really enjoying it. Hopefully have the body finished by the end of tomorrow or Tuesday, and then by the next podcast I should be up to the sleeves. So yeah, very happy lady. The other thing that I've been, I was looking for those needles. The other thing I've finished is a finished object, and that is some weaving. I don't know whether you remember in my Vlogtober I was showing you my weaving. Oh, was it that one? No, it wasn't. It was the knitting, making a felt back rug in the washing machine. And yeah, I showed you my weaving when I was waiting for the washing machine to finish. Well, I finally finished the weaving. I'll put a link to that video up here for you. And what was I saying? Yeah, I finally got the weaving finished. It's been 2 years on the weaving loom. It'll be 3 years in May. And we moved house in between. I had a rat infestation in my old house, which kind of kept my enthusiasm for weaving it because I was doing a lot of it in the garden. And then we moved, so I had all the packing to do and the moving and then getting this house organised. So it's just languished on the weaving loom for about 1.5 years and nothing got done on it. I've got it finished. This is my fabric. I've got 6 metres of it, and it is hand spun Jacob. Now I'm really pleased with it. I've got a lot of fabric out of it. It's very rustic. It's very, my dad said it's very Viking, but I don't know whether you can see it. The light's fading here. I'm in my workshop and the light's fading. There you go. So yeah, I've got 6 metres of it roughly. It needs washing and it needs felting slightly so that it doesn't felt when I wash it and when I wear it. And then I'm going to sew it up and make it into a tabard dress. I've got an idea of what dress I want to make with it. I am going to sew the edges to strengthen the edges, and I'm going to do that after it's been washed. If any of you out there know how I can finish this to make sure that it doesn't shrink too much, please do comment in the comment section below, or send me a message on Instagram or Facebook. I do have a Facebook page for Faithful You Knitting Podcast. That is on Facebook and on Instagram. So if any of you do know how I can finish this and not lose too much of it in the washing machine, not have too much shrinkage, then I would love it if you could get in touch with me. I know it has to be fulled, which is a shrinking and getting the fibre to tighten so that when you cut it up it doesn't all fall apart. And then when it gets washed it doesn't shrink, and when it rains it won't shrink either, and with wear it won't shrink. So yeah, I do need to do more research into how to finish it, but I'm really pleased with it. As I say, I've got 6 metres there of fabric and it's all been done by hand. I've done it with jute, so all my ends are jute, and I did hem stitch for the first time as well. And if I can pull it up I'll show you this. That is my hem stitch. So yeah, I'm very pleased with it. I'm so pleased with it, I'm going to do something else and see if I can make a top, a nice tabardy type top, sleeveless top for the summer. I've got some yarn that looks like kingfisher colours, so I might use that and make another piece of fabric. So yeah, I'm very pleased. So this is my hand woven Jacob fleece, and it was taken straight from the sheep, and then I washed the fleece, I spun the fleece, I got my yarn, and then I wove it into my nice fabric. So I'm now going to make something out of it and wear it. So it's going to come straight from the sheep, be processed completely by hand, no mechanical means at all, no harsh chemicals, no harsh abrasive things washing it. I'm going to use a proper sheep fleece wool wash or natural wool wash, and have it ready for making myself a dress for the summer. So I'm very pleased. So that's that. So as I say, I've got 6 metres. Another finished object that's come back into my possession at the moment is a ranunculus I made for my mum. So I just thought I'd show you that. This is the ranunculus. It has stretched since I knit it because she's been pulling it down because it's not long enough for her. So it's come back to me because she wants me to, there you go, the ranunculus pattern on the top. So yeah, it's come back to me because she wants me to make it a bit longer for her. So there you go, that's a ranunculus. So that was one of my finished objects for Christmas last year. Not last year, the year before. So that was one of the 4 that I knit within about 2 months. So I've still got some of the yarn. It's alpaca, wool and nylon, I think. And it's stretched out beautifully. And the wool is so soft, it's gorgeous, but that's the alpaca that's in it. So yeah, I just need to lengthen it on the bottom. But it's really, really nice wool. It is a commercial wool. I did buy it. I think it's a King Cole. I think it was... I won't tell you how much it was because my mum watches my podcast. So, but yeah, it didn't take long to knit. It knit me about a month. It took me about a month. So that's that. So that's all my finished objects and my works in progress. Hold on a sec. Let me just put everything away. Oh, I've got my spinning to show you as well. I don't know how many of you here were following my Advent challenge of spinning yarn every day throughout the month of December. Well, I failed abysmally. I have only done 2 full skeins of yarn. I haven't finished the rest. I'll confess, open confession, I've done hardly any spinning over Christmas at all since I last saw you. I've done up to day 17. I've hardly done a thing. So I've still got my 2 skeins here that we've done already. So this is what I did so far. Really, really pleased with them. Really pleased with all the locks and the bells and things like that are in it. It's got some beautiful colours in it. It jingles, jingle bells. So yeah, I'm very pleased with it. I love all the different colours and the different locks and the sparkle and the locks. It's very nice. It turned out really, really well. It's got beads in it as well. You can see that bead there. It has got bells in it. And there's the bells, just there. It's got some commercial yarns in it as well. It's got sequins in it. So yeah, I'm very pleased with it. That's one. This is the other one. But I still have my baubles. I've still got another 8 to spin. So I've got 2 more left of the 3rd skein to do, which I brought out to show you. Which is this one. So as you can see, I've done quite a bit already. There are beads in it. There's a bead. There's locks. Sequins. So yeah, I've done, the last length that I did had an awful lot of locks in it. Just there, you can see there's quite a few locks. So this is my 3rd bobbin. I've got 2 more colours to put on this one, 2 more packs to put on this one, and then I'll apply this one, so that'll be my 3rd skein, and then I'll get on with the 4th one. So hopefully I'll have that done for you by the end of the week. So when we come back next Saturday, I'll hopefully have all this done, but I'll at least have this 3rd skein done. So that was my Advent challenge. As you can see behind me, we've gone through quite a few changes since you were in here last time. I've moved my work table that was here on this side, and that's now behind me just here. So I've got a space now for my drum carder. Behind me as well is some shelves, and I've got my weaving looms and things like that on the top, which goes right up to the ceiling. And then I can fill all my little boxes on here. And And yeah, I'm generally just getting tidy because a neighbour dropped in recently and gave me a knitting machine. So I've been trying that out. It needs refurbing. It's not been used since the 1970s and it's got really clogged up with gunk and rust. And she hardly ever used it, so it's nearly new. But I've done a few bits and bobs trying to get it to work, but it just keeps getting snarled up. So I've done a few bits on it. This is a commercial yarn. So I've done that. So that was from a jumper I undid, which I bought in the charity shop. So that's one. This is, as you can see, what's been happening. It's been doing like a bird's nest thing in the brushes underneath and getting clogged up. And then this one was fine. And that's yellow. And then, where's the other one? This is 100% merino. This one. So I've been trying out different thicknesses of yarn to see how it works. But it just kept getting snarled up in the machine. As you can see, this one then went a bit crazy and kept getting snarled up. So yeah, so I've been having a go. This is a mohair piece that I did, which again was from a jumper I undid. I got from the charity shop. So yeah, I've been having a play, but it does need refurbing. There's a few bent needles, and I think that's a part of the problem. So I'm going to try and strip it down. I've been doing some research online as to how to strip it down, and yeah, just generally it just needs a good clean up. So right, the light's starting to fade here now, and yeah, it's getting dark, so excuse the light changing, but it's just simply because it's dark outside. But I was going to go through some of the patterns that I'm thinking of knitting in 2023. I know I've talked about a few of them before in previous podcasts, but I just thought that it would be good to go through some of the patterns I want to knit in 2023. I brought a bit of yarn with me as well to show you some yarns that I'm thinking of using in those patterns, and it's all hand spun apart from one. I've got 5 hand spun and 1 commercial. So the first one I've mentioned before, and it was called Feel the Burn. And I think it was done by Andrea Mowry. And it was, I don't know whether any of you remember from the presidential election when Joe Biden became president. Bernie Sanders, or Sanders, can't remember his name. He sat there on a bench in protest with some mittens on. And the mittens went viral. This picture just went viral. Well, she created this pattern for a jumper, a crop sweater with short sleeves. And it was based on the mittens. So I'll put a picture here for you. But I've chosen my colours for that. And I'm thinking, I'm not sure how much it's going to use, but these are the colours that I'm thinking of using for it. This white is some Welsh Mountain. This one, that's Welsh Mountain, hand spun. And then this one is Shetland, which is what I knit my Koi Knit sweater out of by Kate Davis. I've shown you that on a recent podcast, so that's that one. This is some alpaca, which is local alpaca. Well, local to me anyway. This is that one. And this one, I've got 74 metres on that one, and I've got another 2 skeins, so I'm hoping that's going to be enough. And then I've got this one, which is Hebridean, and I know I don't need that much of that, so I've got a whole fleece that I've spun of this one, so I'm going to have enough for another sweater as well. So yeah, that's my colour palette for the Bernie Sanders sweater. So that is a free pattern. It's called Feel the Burn, and I think it's by Andrea Mowry, but I'll put a link in the description bar below to all the patterns that I discussed with you, and links to them on Ravelry, so you can have a look and you can see what the patterns are, and if you want to knit with them. The next one is called Admit by Nora Gorn. I don't have the yarn to show you for that one because I haven't decided what I'm going to do in it yet. But I don't know whether you've seen the Nightingale sweater that I want to knit, and it was on the Pom Pom Quarterly magazine. I'll put a picture just here for you. And I put a picture just here for you of the Admit jumper. It's a tank top, it's a tee, so it's for the summer. And they're very, very similar. They've got the similar pattern here on both of them, and that's why I like them. So I'm going to knit both of them, but I haven't got the yarn yet for the Nightingale, so that's a bit further down my list. And also it's a paid for pattern. I think it's about £8 for the pattern. It's very expensive, but I think it's worth it because it's such a complicated pattern. It's absolutely beautiful, but I want to hand spin the yarn for that one. And I've got a fleece in mind that I want to do it in, and it was given to me by the postman about half a mile in that direction, just behind me here in the hill behind me. But I can't find it at the moment. It's been washed, it's all ready to spin, and I've got enough fibre to use, but I just can't find it. It's in the garage somewhere. So I need to have a look and see if I can find that, spin it up, and then I can make the Nightingale sweater. But I'm not going to buy any yarn for it, and it is like a grey black colour, so it'll really bring out the detail of the cable pattern on the front of the sweater. And it's quite fitted, and I want to lose more weight as well so that it'll look better on me, and then I'll feel confident wearing it because it's quite a dark colour as well. But it's such a beautiful pattern. I'm really, really desperate to knit it, but I've just got to wait, be patient until I've spun the yarn. But I've got to find the fibre first. So this one here, the Admit one, means that I can still wear the same shaping, and it'll be in a summer t-shirt that I can wear with skirts. So that's the second one. The third one I've got on my list is called the Outlandish Bodice, which I don't know whether any of you watched the Outlander series. Well, a lot of the patterns became popular after that series. I haven't watched it, it's not really my cup of tea, but I do like the patterns. And this bodice, I put a photograph here for you. This bodice is absolutely beautiful, and I want to knit it in some handspun Shetland or handspun Gotland. I have got some in stash that I can use that I've got left. So I think the Gotland might look nicer because it's a darker grey. But I just love the cable patterning. I love the shape round the neck. It is fitted again. And I could wear it with my long skirts and a blouse underneath, and I think it'll just look beautiful in the summer with a pair of summer shoes, a long skirt, and then the bodice over the top to keep me warm. So yeah, this is another one that I think is really, really beautiful. Again, it's a free pattern, and it's called the Outlandish Bodice. So that's number 3. Another one is called the Bunny Sweater. Yeah, another one is called the Bunny Sweater. I'll try and find a photograph of it and put a photograph here for you, but I will put a link to it for you. Again, I saw it on Emily Kate Makes. She made it as well, and it's a children's pattern, but she adapted it to be an adult pattern. And it's got bunny rabbits around the yoke, and then above the bunny rabbits it's got little carrots. Oh, it's absolutely gorgeous, and it's in cream, which isn't really my colour. But I might try and do it in a light green, and then do the rabbits and the carrots in a different colour to come out in the light green. But I would have to dye that one myself because I don't have any light green in stash. But I'm sure I could find some yarn to be able to dye for that one. So yeah, I'll do a link for that one for you. I'm just going to run through these because we're already up to 40 minutes on the podcast, so I will cover them in more detail as I cast them on. But I just wanted to share with you some free patterns that I was thinking of doing for this year and that are on my list to make. I've got my list here. So yeah, I've already talked to you about the vanilla socks. That's number 5. As I say, I'm going to be doing that in this Shills a Day yarn. And they're just going to be ordinary vanilla socks, simple sock, just so I can get the hang of it. And I may try and do them 2 at a time so I don't get bored, and then I get the 2 socks done at the same time. Another one is called the Alhambra tunic, which is a dress. I'll put a link to that here, a photograph here for you. I have talked about that on my podcast before. And I was going to do it in the blue that I've just done my Into the Wild sweater with. But I've decided instead to do it in this. It's a Manx Lofton, which I have spun myself, and it is local. Well, it was local to where I used to live, not where I live now in Wales. It was from where I came from originally, in Cheshire. So yeah, this is a Manx Lofton wool. I'll put a picture just here of what the sheep looks like. It's a really, really funky sheep with big horns and horns here. Yeah, this is the Manx Lofton. So I'm hoping to do my Alhambra sweater tunic and make it into a dress and make it longer. I'm not sure I'll have enough of that. We'll have to see. I'm hoping I will. But I'm going to use some of the blue that's left from my Into the Wild sweater and pop it with that, and that's going to be the detail around the body. So that's that one. The other one is called the Celtic Myths shawl, and I'm knitting that in this one, and I'm going to cast that on as soon as I get to the sleeves for my Into the Wild sweater. And I'm doing this in blacker yarns, and it's called St Kilda, and it's a limited edition. Now if you can get it, it's about £17 or £18 a skein. I'm not sure if they still do it, but they only do a certain amount every year when they do it. So you need to make sure for your project that you buy enough yarn, because they only have a certain amount of sheep over there on St Kilda, and I think that's where the fibre comes from. Don't quote me on that, I'm not 100% sure, but this one's called Stack Lee, which is actually at St Kilda. So there's the ball band. There you go. So it is a lace weight yarn. I've not knit with lace weight before. It's got 400 metres on the ball. No, 700 metres on the skein. So I think that would be plenty for the Celtic Myths shawl. I've put a picture up for you, but I love the detail around the bottom of it, of the cabling. It's just plain stocking stitch, I think, or garter stitch on the main part of the body, and then along the edge at the bottom you've got this lovely detail of a Celtic stitch, cable stitch along the edge. So that's what really sold me on knitting that one, and that again is a free pattern. And I really want to use this yarn, so it's a really good use of yarn. The other one I want to do is called the Cottage Swoncho. Now this is a paid for pattern, but it's beautiful. It's got so many different colours. I'll put a picture here for you. It's got so many different colours in it, and I just love the garden style design that's on it, and I love the baggy sleeves, sort of like batwing sleeves that it has on the arms. So yeah, I'm going to knit that as well if I can get round to it, but that I'm hoping to do in some natural dyed yarns, if I can find enough yarn to dye for that project. It depends on the size of the yarn largely, the thickness of the wool. I haven't actually had a proper look at the pattern, but it's been in my queue for about 2 years now, and when I got the pattern it was free, but it is a paid for pattern, but I'm not sure how much the pattern is at the moment. But yeah, that is one of the only paid for patterns I've got on my list. Let me see what else there is. There's a couple of patterns by Jennifer Steingast which I have paid for, but she had an offer and I think they were 20% or 30% off on her patterns. So I bought the Garden Gate one, which I've started, but I haven't done much to it because I wanted to get this Into the Wild sweater done. But I'm up to the yoke on that, so I finished the German row shaping, so I just need to get on with the yoke on that one. So I want to get that done for the summer so I can wear it in the spring. So I'll get a move on that one, and that again is done in Shills a Day yarns. So yeah, and then the last one I've got on my list is called Gracious. I can't remember, I found that one yesterday, so I don't have all the details on that. I will put a picture here for you and a link in the description bar below. So yeah, that is my thinking for the year ahead. As I say, I'm going to get the body finished on the Into the Wild sweater, and then I'm going to cast on this one, and I may cast on the Bernie Sanders one so I can wear that in the spring as well, late winter, early spring. So yeah, I think that's it really. I can't think of anything else. There are a few more patterns on there, but I haven't looked at them properly, so I can't really show you in detail what those patterns are. Excuse me, I've been talking for too long. Since I had COVID, my throat gets really dry. Right, so I'm going to go now, and I'm going to go and put my tea on because it's getting on for 10 to 5. I've talked for a lot longer than I thought I was going to. I said I'd only be out here half an hour. I've been out here 50 minutes. But yeah, the little series thing that I'm doing of videos on the drum carding hasn't come together yet. I found that I had, yeah, if that's, you're only here for the knitting content, then feel free to leave any point in the video, bits that don't suit you. But it's been lovely to have you here, and I will see you next time. But if you are staying around, just a little bit of odd bits of ends to tie up for you. The drum carding video, I had it on a hard drive, and the hard drive broke, which had to go back to Amazon. It was one of those external ones, and unfortunately I had the first episode of that drum carding video on that hard drive. So consequence is I'm now having to re-edit the videos that I took and put the video together again. So it may be delayed. It will be done in January, but it may not be next week. But we will see how we get on. I'm halfway through editing the first one. They're about half an hour long, I think. But I'm showing you how to use the drum carder to any of you who are new to using a drum carder, and I'm showing you 3 different techniques on that drum carder on how to get the wool off, the fibre off. So we're doing the Diz technique, the rolag technique, and the bat technique of getting the fibre off. So I just thought that it would be a fun series to do to any of you new spinners out there who are considering getting a drum carder, so that you can see what you can do with the drum carder and how to use it, how easy it is to use, and how easy it makes it spinning. It's a lot easier than hand carders. I don't dismiss hand carders if you want to use them, but I just find a drum carder saves so much time, and I can do so much more spinning because I then have the time freed up to be able to spin rather than carding wool. And when you're doing raw fleece like I do for rugs and things, it's a lot easier doing it on a drum carder or spinning from the raw fleece. So yeah, so it is going to be slightly delayed. I was hoping to have the first episode up this week, but as I say, it ended up going back off to Amazon, and it was gone off my computer. So yeah, consequences of using an external hard drive. But my computer has so little memory on it. What I'm having to do now is just delete the videos after I've uploaded them to YouTube, and then if I ever need them again, I'm going to have to download them back down off YouTube. So hey ho. The natural dyes series hasn't been put together yet either. I've got the videos for the actual foraging part of the videos, but I haven't actually done the dyeing yet. But that's not coming until February. I've done the first one, which was dyeing from the garden, and we did Rudbeckia and Goldenrod. So I'm thinking of doing that for the very first one because I've already got all that together. And then we're doing foraging in the wild and things from the kitchen. So I was thinking for the one from the wild of using what I've already got in the freezer from the little mini video that I did in April last year when I got gorse, dandelion and daffodils. So I'm thinking of using those to dye the wool. I just have to pick 2, or 1 or 2, because they're all yellow and I don't want a whole yellow batch of yarns. I've also got some elderflower leaves, so I was thinking of having a go with that. We've got our mushrooms to have a look at because they're still fermenting. There's still a lot to come, but I just need to get round to getting the videos done. It's so cold and a lot of it has to be done outside. The dyeing I do outside, but I'm hoping that when my husband's at work to be able to do a video using the stove in the kitchen, which is wood, and being able to cook on that. So right, I think that's it from me for today. I'm going to go in and get my tea, and it's gone dark. It's very cold, and I need to go back in front of the fire. My throat's starting to hurt as well from all the talking that I've been doing. But if you have enjoyed my videos, please do like and subscribe. Please do hit the notification, little notification bell at the side of the like button. And that will tell you when I upload new videos. If you hit the like button, it does kick YouTube to promote my videos on YouTube, so I'd be very grateful to you if you could hit the like button. And if you want to share any of my content on any of your social media, do feel free to share my videos on Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook, anywhere where you are on the internet, and help me to grow my channel. So yeah, I hope you all have a lovely week. I hope you enjoy all of your crafts, whatever it is you're working on. And I shall be back to you again in the middle of the week. So have a lovely evening, and I will see you soon. So bye for now. Bye bye.